Hello, welcome to my channel everybody. My name is Chrissy and today I'll be giving you a prediction reading for the 16th of October. Now if you're new here, please subscribe. I do pretty much just let my guides turn off through to you, so stay watching. There might be a message someone's meant to receive today. So I will close my eyes and we'll get started. God, I'm getting Norway now. I'm getting Norway. I'm getting Norwegians. I'm getting Belgium, and I'm getting Munich, and I'm getting France. Whatever is happening in these areas is coming hard and it's coming fast. I've been saying France for probably a week now. But there's a lot happening around renewables. I do feel it's around renewables. I'm also getting that vibration of the digital currency. I do talk a lot about them doing little like trials and experimenting in different areas, so when they do their big rollouts they get to know what's going to work, how people are going to receive things, because they don't want people standing up again, as we know. So that's what I'm getting. They're really hitting these kind of regions hard now with their renewable applications, it's saying. And also I do feel there's a lot going on around the digital currency. Gosh, we all know that here. I told you all the banks are closing down here where I live. And I know a lot of you guys have been mentioning that down below, that a lot of the banks are closing too. They're even having the cashless banks now. So we know this is what they're pushing. So that's what I'm getting for these areas. They're doing their little experiments to see how the people will receive things. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Hang on a sec. Let's see where else we go today. God, I'm still getting it. The Dutch farmers are rising. Now, someone sent me the other day to mention to me to go and watch Redacted. And if any of you haven't caught up to date with Redacted, they actually do have one on the Netherlands farmers. Because I was saying how I do believe that fight's still going on, but it's getting really pushed down the algorithms. We know it is because they push anything that's of value to the people down the algorithms, so no one can find it. But apparently that fight is still going on, and I do feel that these Dutch farmers, they're brave and they're strong, and they're really fighting back. Because what they're saying is, the guides are saying there's no purpose to their life without their farms. I even heard, I think it was on that Redacted, they actually said someone had suicided. So the farmers are kind of getting to that breaking point now. I mean, this is not an easy battle. And I think what's so frustrating is, how do people see that information if they can't get to that information? Like, we know these people waking up, for example, are not seeing that information. I mean, we have to dig really deep if we want to find out the truth of what's going on. We have to dig. So these people aren't even digging, so they're not going to get it. They're not seeing it until it's right on their doorstep with a lot of this agenda. So yes, I understand the frustration, guys. I'm hearing you, but I am getting the Dutch farmers are rising to the challenge. They still are. They're pretty tough. It's like they've got nothing to lose. What have they got to lose? But they're gaining strength and power through the masses. So they're getting a lot of support. I do believe they've got a lot of support of the people. Let's see where else we go today. Gosh, for some reason I'm getting the New Zealand Highlands. Hang on. I'm just getting that real like mountain energy in New Zealand. I feel like people are getting strong. It's like they're standing on them. I guess that's what they're saying about the Highlands. If you think of the Highlands, usually mountainous terrain. These people in New Zealand are really starting to stand high on the mountain. And I think what the guides are actually saying to me here is they're actually, this is indicating they're becoming awake. When you think, I always talk about us being on that mountain and having that view of the things that are coming towards people. Well, that's what I'm getting for New Zealand. People are going up into the highlands, not literally, some might be, but they're actually seeing things from a higher perspective and a higher vantage point where they're starting to see the truth. So I'm definitely getting that for New Zealand. You've got a lot of people really starting to see things now. And we know that she's brought in the taxes around the cow burps, which is absolutely ludicrous. I did laugh at one of you typed in, what about the human burps and farts, which we do have to wonder, don't we? So let's blame the cows for everything. So I'm getting that in New Zealand. People, I'm getting this Highlander energy, like Highlander, the Highlands rather. People are starting to see things from a higher vantage point in New Zealand, and that's a good thing. Let's take that as a positive, because we know what Jacinda Ardern's like over there. She's a real tyrant dictator. So that's good that people are starting to see things a lot clearer and with more clarity. Let's see what else we go. England. Oh, I'm getting England. There's fightbacks. They're coming. Be ready. They're coming. And it may not be you guys watching my channel. This might be the people waking up. They're starting to see the shit show that's arriving at their doorstep. They can see it. It's showing me like them hosing. This is the people waking up, and excuse the analogy, but it's showing me them hosing shit off their doorstep. This is the people in England and Britain, UK, surrounding areas, that they're wanting to wash the shit off their doorstep, because they know that what's coming at them is BS and garbage, and it's not making any sense. I knew you guys were going to be hit hard, but I honestly didn't think it would be the, excuse the French, but sometimes you just got to swear, the shit show that it's actually turned into, hasn't it? And the people, but like I keep saying to you, it's kind of a good thing, because it wakes people up, because people start to see, hang on a minute, what the hell? You know, look at the classic example of Liz Truss. She started off on such a bad few weeks. But people are starting to realise what their reality is starting to become now. And it ain't great, is it? As we all know. So they're starting to see this picture being painted of their future lives. And this is great, because we need them to see that. So it's like the picture's starting to come together. It's showing me like a colouring in sheet of paper. And you know how you do the colour by numbers? So you got the colour by number 3, and then you got the colour number 4, might be yellow. Well, this is what's happening for these people waking up in like England, UK, London, all these areas. The picture's starting to fill in for them. Like the first part might have been number 1, and it was only little bits and bobs they couldn't piece together. And then number 2, colour green, came in, and then they got the red come in, and now it's starting to form a real picture, and it ain't a pretty picture. It's showing me it's becoming like a just a collage of confusing colours that's not making any sense. And that's the visual I'm getting for these people waking up in these areas. They're starting to realise that none of this is making any sense. And that's a good thing. Because the picture that was being painted, as we know, before Liz Truss came in and Charles were painting, it was wonderful. It was going to be wonderful. And of course, it's ended up just being all the paint thrown at the canvas. And that's what these people are seeing. So it's a good thing, because it's waking people up. So stay looking at all that from afar, Louise, including you over there in Wales. I'll just see what else we get today. Hang on a minute. Oh my God. The guides are just saying people are becoming so quirky now. It's like all these, well, we know they're doing the transhumanism and this, we've got the whole transgender kind of event stuff playing out, and that's fine. I don't have any issues here. I don't have any issues if anyone's like that at all. But they're saying like people are creating things now in their minds. This is all this stuff is starting to play on the human psyche. We know it is. We don't know what they're really talking about in the schools either, but it's just starting to bring out all the real quirkiness. God, honestly, guys, this is just getting nuts. It's saying it's bringing out this quirkiness in people's personalities. So what it's doing, it's starting to like highlight, it's actually highlighting more of people's differences. Like we all know we're different, and I did post a video the other day about feeling weird and different, which we all pretty much here do, being conspiracy theorists and all that kind of thing that we are. Unjabbed and all. We've got a lot of titles, haven't we? We talked about that the other day. But I am getting it's bringing out this like quirkiness. And the weird thing that people aren't seeing, and this is what the guides are kind of saying, is by them doing this, like, well, we know that transhumanism is kind of more connected to the digital age and all that. But what it's doing, all this quirkiness of people's strangeness, it's separating people more. And if you think about it, Once upon a time, which we never understood anyway, there was the blacks and the whites, and then we got blended together, which was great, and then society became blended. Then you had the gay communities, then you had the Black Lives Matters community, and now they're breaking it down even more. So you've got the people who refer to themselves as an it, you've got or a they or a them and then you've got someone who identifies as a cat, and then you've got someone else who identifies as a clown. And now they're breaking this down. So this is what this is doing, and they're very clever, aren't they, at the manipulation. They're breaking society down into smaller and smaller and smaller groups, which they are. Because if you think about it, it's going to be harder to kind of mix. You're going to have to sort of, if you're identifying, for example, I know this sounds extreme, but this is happening. What is happening in the world? If you identify as a cat, you're pretty much not going to be able to identify as like a girl or a dog, or you're not going to fit into that group. This is extreme, I know. I'm just doing it to highlight, wow, this is really different. How's all this going to blend? Because they're making these little subgroups of people now that are gonna, yes, as we know, isolate people even more. I mean, we were a society, probably pre-pandemic, I would say, that was pretty much blended. We know racism and all that kind of crap went on. I mean, how do you ever stamp that out? It shouldn't, but we know that it's a real thing. But now you've got all the little subgroups, and it may not be in a lot of our generations, if you're around my age group or even a little younger, it might be in these up and coming generations. There's still going to be this real separate and divide. There's the mini groups, and I think if you look at that from an outside perspective, that actually is starting to become visibly obvious. I know even at my daughter's high school, there's a lot of people there that present as they, them, it. I don't even know what it is. LGBTQs or whatever they call. I mean, that's nothing. I don't even care about all of this, and I know you guys don't either. But they tend to hang together. I've seen them at the school. It's very hard for them to intermingle with the other kids. So you've got these like, and I'm not saying it's a terrible thing. I'm just saying it's another way that these government elites have manipulated young people into littler subgroups, because when people are separated, as we know, and divided, it's much easier to control them, isn't it? So that's what I'm getting around what has been going on with this quirky confusion. Instead of us all just getting on and accepting each other for who we are, it's making it it's making it very isolated again, is probably the word. These little isolated groups. And that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But that's what the guides are saying. That's their long-term plan, to make smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller groups. Because as we know, when you haven't got lots of people and support around you, it's easier to manipulate and control people. Hang on, let's see what else we've got today. I'm getting Australia. We do get Australia because, as you know, elbows right up with all the global elites. Our curtains are closing, and this is not good. I'm thinking when they're closing the curtains, that means they're hiding away the information of the global reset from the people. So sadly, in Australia, I feel like they're really, I guess you could get it back to the algorithms and the misinformation. But personally, I feel a lot of this, and I know a lot of you guys are going through this as well. A lot of bills are being passed now about free speech and closing people down. And I'm guessing that's why we're getting the curtains in Australia, because they are passing those bills about misinformation. I just send you in New Zealand is. And also, I don't know if you guys are aware of it, I think this happened in Turkey. I'm sure I saw something a while ago about them passing the bill as well. And I think it was even in Turkey that one of the coal mines blew up the other day, didn't it? All these things are just too coincidental, aren't they? There's a lot of miners, I think, trapped in that coal mine, but mind you, we only get what we get told. But coincidentally, a coal mine yet again. We do have to wonder. There are too many question marks. So I am getting that the curtains are closing on Australia. We're really losing our freedoms and our right to free speech and protesting and standing up. I do believe that's what's happening in Australia. We've known that for a while, but now if we know Dan Andrews in Melbourne, Victoria, he'll have a big say in all of that. And they're, of course, getting all the flooding down there. So I am feeling that the curtains, unfortunately, are being closed on freedom of speech in Australia. Yep, the lucky country. No more, we're not the lucky country anymore, we're the fizzer country. Oh, I'm so embarrassed to be Australian, honestly. What the hell? What is even happening here, honestly, to our lives? God, hang on a minute. Hey, look, I just want to also talk to you guys about, we talked, I think it was yesterday, about the feelings of frustration that we're all going through. And look, I really am struggling with it as well. I just want you guys to know that I'm going through this at the moment. So if any of you guys are as well, please chat to me and let me know what you're feeling. I had this urge this morning to just post everything on Facebook, and I wanted to like post everything again. And all I could think of was a guide saying, just remain silent. And I was saying to the guides, I actually said to them, oh, how are these people ever going to see this information, like the farmers in the Netherlands, and how are they ever going to get to this? They're not going to know, and then it'll be on our doorstep. And I got all overwhelmed, and I started to like, I could feel it wasn't even fear, it's just frustration. This is the most frustrating experience, isn't it? Because they're not seeing it, and they don't think it's real. But it is real, and it's coming to them, and their world is falling down around them, and they're still not piecing it all together. So this is what I just kept feeling, this urgency to, it was like a little bit of a panic that rose in me, like we've got to get this information to people. But then all I could hear was the guide saying, badge of silence. We have to retreat. It's very hard to do, guys. I know it's very hard to do because I want to go out there and splash it all around again. But I think what the guides are saying, and I was trying to figure out why they kept saying to me, just be silent, just be silent, badge of silence on the Braveheart biker jackets, is what they're saying is the more that we kind of put up, the more people resist. And I think that is actually what they're trying to say. The more that we put things up, the more it pushes people back, so they resist it even more. And that would kind of make sense, because I was thinking about my sister and I, and the more I talked to her about anything, the more she got aggressive and pushed away from it. So I guess that's what the guides are trying to say to us, is to just let it unfold and remain in our silence. And we're the ones that have to deal with our frustrations. This is about us. It's not really about anything going on out there or anyone. It's about us getting back into that good centered perspective of the whole experience, and finding that calm, inner peace, and that really centered place. So I kind of listen to the guides, and I know you guys are probably feeling what I am, and I had to go back to that silence and just remove myself away from it, because this is about us moving our lives forward, and that's what we've got to remember. If these people follow behind, that's well and good, and that's their choice, but we have to keep going on our straight and sort of centered path now, and keep moving forward. We don't want to get dragged back into those old energies of frustration and that again, because even this morning when I had those feelings, I had that feeling like I did around the jab wheel when we were all being like vilified and all that. It was just such a horrible feeling. Only for a moment I did experience that. I'm sure you guys do too. We get triggered a lot, don't we? But I just felt, oh no, I hope this doesn't end up like the jab wheel experience. And that was only my own thoughts. I don't think it's going to, because like I keep saying, they're not in the mass psychosis for this. They're just confused about all of this. So we don't want to get them pushing back and resisting and going back into the old narratives. We need them to keep moving forward as well. And I think that's what the guides are trying to say to us. Just let me see if there's anything to close with today. So yes, badge of silence, just saying we have to really focus on that. It's really important. It's so hard though, isn't it? Oh, it's so hard. Okay, hang on, let me see if there's something else to close with today. Oh, God. How's the guides? They're so cheesy, aren't they? They're giving me that song again. off The Sound of Music, climb every mountain. We've just got to keep climbing mountains. It's saying that there's no mountain we can't climb. We've got to climb every mountain. Oh God, I love that movie. Sorry guys, I know I'm not a great singer, but sometimes if I sing it, people can relate to it, even if the tune doesn't sound so great. So it's that, I think the nun actually sings it, doesn't she? I think she sings it about Julia Andrews in that movie. It's a great visual. Anyway, it's that climb every mountain, and that's the message the guides are going to leave us with today. Climb every mountain. And I think I actually had that a while ago, didn't I? On the back of our Braveheart biker jackets, there is the Braveheart bikers written on it on the back, but that I'm sure I said it had the mountain in the middle of it. Well, that's the big picture that's on the back of our biker jacket. I'm sure I said this before. I don't know. I say so much stuff. Sometimes I can't remember. But I'm definitely getting that mountain. We can climb any mountain. There's no mountain that we can't climb. And that's about that moving forward too, and just climbing the next mountain and the next mountain. It's like that Josh Groban song. The guys always tell us that they raise us up so we can stand on mountains, because when you stand on those mountains, you get that really good view and that vantage point of what's coming at you, and it allows you to be prepared and maybe move to the next mountain and climb every mountain. So that's what I'm going to leave you with, that song again. Maybe we go and watch it for a bit of inspiration today, and to help us to relieve our frustrations and go back to our badge of silence, because that's where we need to be. So maybe do some meditation today. I've got some mini meditations. I might leave one over here if anyone's interested in that, doing a 5-10 minute meditation. There's tons on YouTube as well. I made a few just because I do a lot of sort of mini meditations. Even doing the passions and the things that you love outside in the gardens, or bushwalking, or whatever you might do, cooking, they're forms of meditation as well. So let's go focus on ourselves today. And I mean that not in a selfish way, but in a way of just really nurturing and taking care of ourselves, and maybe relieving some of the frustrations and feelings that we're currently going through. So I'm going to say goodbye from Australia. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hit the like buttons. Chat to me down below. And I will say goodbye from Australia. Bye, everybody. Bye.